Facebook drama, a bizarre email, and the newest episode of Back in My Day. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do, 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 do.
And as if on cue, the dog busts through the door in the middle of your intro after previously busting out of the door in preparation for your intro. He's just such a drama king. He wants to be involved. How are you, Missy B?
Oh, Amy. I'm so glad to have this time each week to talk to you and our dear listeners.
Oh my gosh.
I have some stuff. I mean, I have some updates. You want some updates?
Yes, hell fuck yes, go. Don't even stop. Go.
I'm going to hit the third topic on my intro, which is Back in My Day. Okay?
Yes.
So,
gather round the Snapchat children while Grandma tells her stories.
at least it's not John. When John was here, it was, hey, you kids, get the fuck off my lawn. Like he was angry. I'm just nostalgic. Okay.
Oh, it's nice.
So yesterday, Friday night, Saturday, one of those days ago, my son got out all of his college applications.
Wow.
Everything is out. Everything is beyond our control. Everything is in the world. And
I totally didn't understand. You mean processed and shipped? When you
Yes,
say
he got them all out.
got out in our house, that means removed them from the staging drawer where they sit until they're past due and lay them on the counter. That's getting out. You mean he actually completed them and mailed them. Yay!
Well, that kind of feeds into the Back in My Day theory. You're talking about a child who has a portfolio to submit. So there is, paper involved. Okay? So for us, when you get them out, there is no paper to lay on a table. There is no drawer to put anything in. Everything is digital, which is fine. I roll with the punches. I'm a digital girl.
That's
I
right.
got this.
That's right. Fuck you, nostalgia. I keep up.
I could be as digital as the next teenager.
Click. Bring it.
Exactly. So when I tell you he got them out, he hit submit after entering our credit cards 7 or 8 times.
Boom.
And
yeah, I know that shit sucks.
So everything's gone.
Well, and it doesn't matter to you, but some days they actually give it to you for free. Like there's an entire month that they let you submit for free. So you may have been in the free month.
Well, not
regardless.
just that.
It's done and nobody cares about the credit card. So
we did a tour of a college and they said, because you came and toured and you did this with us, put in this code and you can apply to Pitt for free. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's sweet.
Oh, that's nice.
That's $75 we spent on dinner instead of that application. So, yay. So, he did another couple 2 weeks ago, and now that they're all out, he already thinks I could do whatever I want. Let me go get drunk. Like, let me go do so. Like, I'm ready. So it's one of those senioritis in my mind. I'm already gone. Right.
Let's celebrate graduating college before we're admitted.
Before we leave high school. Exactly.
Yeah.
So before we take our APs. So here we go. And he starts checking the rolling ones that he did a couple of weeks ago. He checks the website once a day just to make sure, yep, everything's still in. They didn't put something up that says you're missing this or your application is in review or whatever.
Yeah,
he
the
just
giant
checks it.
red flashing button. I'm so familiar with it because it's on
Right.
everything we ever touch digitally. Yes. Error, incomplete, undo,
Right. So he checks
missing,
for that.
false, incorrect, invalid, walk away, failure, loser. Yeah, we get a lot of these buttons.
Invalid. I'm like, what's this invalid on here? What's happening? So he was checking the other day and it said accept or deny or decline.
Hey, motherfucker! I know what
said,
that means.
So he FaceTimes me. He goes, I think I might have gotten in. And I said, well, where does it say congratulations? You
Missy
are now
starts
a member.
levitating. She's currently levitating.
So I'm like, well, let's look into it. So here comes my Back in My Day. Back in my day, you opened your fucking mailbox, and there was
Right.
either a large envelope with tons of forms for your parents to fill out having to do with, I don't know, loan money, scholarships, payment, meal plan, all
You
the
are who
fucking
you say
shit.
you are. Yeah.
Right. And a small one that said, yo, thanks for your interest, but we ain't interested in you. So big letter, small letter. That's back in my day. Now it's not even a you've been admitted letter. It's accept or decline. So I'll have you know that. So we read that and we thought, hit accept. Click accept. See what it does if you click accept. So this school was in my son's top 2.
Yay!
So Ethan got into Pitt.
Yay! I
So
feel
he's-
like that was his number 1, no?
Well, it
Yes?
kind of is.
And them motherfuckers paid your admit for you.
They did. They did.
Oh, we are headed for a platter-sized tray of French fries, bitches. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, he
That's
got
their
into.
that's their campus thing, by the way. That's their food culture. Go. I'll tell you later. Go.
No, yeah, it goes on all the sandwiches. We've been to Permanti Brothers. We're all about Pitt. We loved it. I'm sure he would prefer to go to Maryland, but Maryland can't keep asking what they're asking for tuition and expect people to say,
He doesn't want to go to Maryland.
well, we'll see in these COVID times. We'll see what it means and if they're willing to, I don't know, be flexible with tuition. But right now, I think he got into his first choice. So And then we still-
Congratulations!
thank you. And
Why
we
did
still
I not hear about this immediately? Why
Well,
did you
'cause
wait for fucking now?
I'm not allowed to talk to you unless it's on pod. You made that very clear. When
You were
every time
talking about something that I thought we were going to podcast about, which is why I cut you off, and then we never returned to it. And it's probably for the sanctity of both of our marriages that we didn't return to this topic.
Do you think it's the first time you cut me off in the middle of a
No, I
FaceTime
said
call?
to you, this is,
when we
I
were
said,
talking?
this is really interesting. We should, and then I hit delete because anytime.
Dear listener, Amy hangs up on me on average every time we talk.
Don't be so interesting. Don't be so interesting. Why don't you call me when you got nothing going on? That's the kind of time that I want to talk to you in my private time. This is my pod time. We got other people on the line. This is a party line. Nobody cares about that shit. They care about Pitt. Woo! Why are
Hail
you
to
not
Pitt.
doing this, you batshit crazy nut?
I've
That's
known
what you're
for
supposed to be
days.
doing. So
I cried.
it's everything now gold and black. And have we gotten all the hats? And where's the shirt? And is there a pennant? And what happens? And I've got news for you.
News
It's
for me.
more than just, hey, accept the decline. We don't give a fuck. It's more than that. You will get, and probably already have received, a box with a little doo-doo-doo and confetti will spray out of it.
Oh,
and a
that's
folder
awesome.
with shit. No, they'll send shit to you. They will send shit to you, and then they will repeatedly send shit to you. They absolutely will after you accept.
Well, we
We've
hit
had-
accept.
Yeah.
And we gave a small, because we didn't believe them. And it's really all I needed to hear. So we hit accept. And they're like, yeah, is your father in Pennsylvania? Yes. Is your mother in Pennsylvania? Yes, we are residents of. Okay, why don't you give us $100? And we're like, all right. I'm willing
Is that
I'm willing
when
to
you-
take the chance. I'm willing to risk $100 to.
Was this the welcome new donor, or was this?
I don't know.
Was this your registration fee, your
So-
commitment fee?
The next day, he got an email that said, "You're a Panther." Like it was
Told ya.
a much
Told
more
ya.
email. But I want that fucking box. I don't
You'll
need the
get it.
funfetti, but
You'll
I
get
sure
it.
do need swag.
You'll get it. We had one that played a little song. One of the.
Oh, wow.
It was from Tennessee Vols, the Vols.
Volunteers. Yep.
And it was a box, and you open the box, and it like those cards, it automatically started whatever their thing is that I don't even know, and the box is in a drawer now. So anytime he would get into a school, every time he got into a school, I would buy him one of those old school pennants, just to say, you did it. Even the ones that you got no interest in going to. So
These people wanted you.
Right. So we have that, and it's not even going to hang them up, and it's like they went $40. But at the same time, it's like nobody asked me to do it, but it just felt really good
See,
to
$40 a
Here
piece.
you go.
I was happy to put $100 down on the possibility.
I told you this before when he got into his number one choice. I didn't waste any time. He was standing there. They told us the day that they would make the announcement, and he was checking, and they told us the method they would use to make the announcement, and he would refresh, refresh. And we did this. Probably we limited him to 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes from, 6:45 in the morning all the way until nothing at the end of the day. And he was at that point vibrating with sadness. He's like, it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. See? And I'm like, well, the day's not really over. And it was 5:40. It was like 5:30 or 5:40. And he goes, Mom, I'm telling you, I'm looking at it right here. And he pressed the refresh button and turned it around and it said, accepted. It happened like in the kitchen while we were all standing there and when we flipped out. The reason I'm saying that is the second it happened, I was like, don't let them change their mind. I got online. And
Here's money.
Within an hour, I had applied for his housing and paid it. I'm like, try taking it back, motherfucker. I got the keys. Yeah. Don't look back. If it was a mistake, it's too late.
I realize you haven't even taken midterms yet, but you're going to this college.
Congratulations. I can't believe that this wasn't a bigger screaming. Oh, my God. What a weight off. Yay.
So
Hooray.
We can exhale, and he thinks he's already in college.
Well,
mentally.
You're giving him beer, so I would say that's a hell yes, mother bear. I'm so excited. Has he thought it all? That was the hurdle, and now we're gonna go for like 2 years while he figures out. I don't really know what the fuck I want to do. I want to go to college and learn. So there's no track yet, other than the general bucket of become an adult here with learning and knowledge.
Yeah, I don't want to push him. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
No, who does? And half
for
the
100
people
years.
who do switch it. So yeah. No problem.
Which brings me to and we sent out 5 more applications to see what else we. So we're still, but
well, it's only your credit card that's paying those $95 a pop application fees, Mommy. So what do we care?
So that takes me to I consider my life to be a Shakespearean tragedy. I don't know, 3 acts. I don't know how you want to look at it. The first act was us. Really, up until meeting you and having jobs. And second act is my family. And the third act, because I discussed last week, my kids are leaving in 2 years and I have act 3. Now I know I want to write and I want to use creativity, but I also saw some really good cookie recipes online. I sent you one of them that
I know. I saw it. I also received it in the form of a dare, I believe. If not an order, one of the other.
I found it on a TikTok video. It was.
Can I just diverge for a minute?
It?
I know we got a tight board today. We got a lot of very emotionally important things to discuss.
Yeah.
You had this surprise. I have a surprise for you. It's not really a surprise. It's just you don't know what I want to talk about so passionately. And yet, I feel I must acknowledge you on TikTok like too fucking much. What are you doing on the fucking TikTok? Why? Isn't there like an age requirement? Do they put you in a special room or category for people?
No. Well, there
or
are
you
100.
or you do have like a false identity that the kids have hip names for. I don't know what the Finsta is on TikTok. Are you like masquerading as a 13-year-old, mean girl? Why are you on there all the time?
There are different categories of TikTok. You could do there whatever you follow. It puts right now on my TikTok is like Mandy Patinkin, who I worship.
You should.
Talking about getting out the vote, and I love him, political things, and for some reason, types of cookies.
Well, my darling, that's the thing. The algorithms are your friend. Here's what's so, I want to say delightful, but it's not. And
what?
I can't. Here's what's so creepy is the word. You send me.
Yeah.
You send me a lot of these TikToks. That's how I know you're on it all the time, because it'll be 3:00 in the morning and my thing will go ping, and there's a little TikTok with a so I'm like, all right, it's something funny. I gotta wake up and watch something funny.
No, I do not send it at that
hour. I have a lot of them, and I play them, and at the end of the play, invariably, and that for you,
you're
kids
caught in it.
For you kids at home who have not gone to Pitt, that means every fucking time the next video is a pimple popper. 100% of the time. And it's on a pre-roll, bitches. So the second I'm done watching the cookies that are brown with a little thing in the middle, we pop to blackheads.
Ew, I've
in
never
the process
gotten that
of extraction.
On TikTok.
That's what you sending me, baby.
No, I've never gotten that.
That's 100%. So yeah, I'm not even on TikTok. I don't even know how I can. That's not true. I got on TikTok because the kids were all laughing at some party and they said, Bennett has 2 million followers. You should follow Bennett. And I was like, what the fuck is Bennett doing? Because I didn't necessarily like the idea of that. And he's on there just doing like cute,
being an idiot,
interesting cut videos that like, how much time do you fucking spend making these videos, Bennett? But anyway, so I had to And then our friend Jessica had foxes in her yard. So I watched those two things, and that's it.
Do you still have the app on your phone?
Neither of these activities have anything to do with blackhead removal. I don't understand it.
I've never seen a blackhead removal on TikTok.
It is 100%.
So it's your TikTok that has it, not mine.
All right. So I don't know. It's like Tinder. I did that.
So can you describe the cookie I sent you?
Well, of course. So, you mean for the listeners? I thought you meant, did you watch it and remember? Because I was placing an order. So
I demand these for Thanksgiving, I believe I wrote.
Yes, you did. You did, actually. And I tell you, they're really simple to make, my doll baby sweet little cherub face. Okay, so they're thumbprint cookies.
Therese, this is for you. It's the cooking segment.
So,
hey, Amy,
gang,
what's cooking?
So, gang, when you do a thumbprint cookie, you've eaten them probably more than you've made them. All a thumbprint cookie means is the center of the cookie has some sort of visible filling or delightfully fudgy something. A thumbprint cookie also fits in that category that we've all seen as of our third grade bake sale, which is you take a store-bought loaf of peanut butter dough, slice it with a knife, and then stick a Hershey Kiss in it. That's technically a thumbprint. The Hershey Kiss makes the boink almost as if you'd put your thumb in the middle. So these, you take the ones that she sent me, you take a delightfully fudgy truffle, effectively, of chocolate, and you roll it into a ball because it's nothing but fudge. There's very little flour in. And then you roll it in a coating of your choice. In this case, it was crushed up pecans. So it's delicious, little nutty, crunchy, chumpy. And then you put all of those rolled balls, perfect little spheres, on the cookie sheet and take the back of a tiny, tiny eighth of a tablespoon. So it's like a perfect little semicircle, and you go
Scoop.
doink, and just instead of with your thumb, you just press it with that, and it makes a beautiful little cup container. You cook these cup container-esque cookies. They come out while they're still warm, and that's when you opt to fill that little divot with a delightful mixture of fudgy caramel cream that will harden to a hard shell, not unlike a toffee. Then you take chocolate drizzle and go zoo over the front. And then what you do is you probably would stack about 9 of these right on top of one another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then unhinge your jaw and put all of them into your mouth
like
at
the snake you are.
They're small. 9 is easy. 9 is easy. It's the divine 9 is easy. It's easy.
So I was thinking maybe cookies in Act 3. I am open to suggestions, dear listener, if you'd like to share with me options and your thoughts for my Act 3. Please
let's
free.
unpack that just a little bit.
Wait, please feel free to contact us at brilliantobservations@gmail.com. You can go to our Facebook page, Listen Brilliant, Brilliant Observations on Facebook. We have a squad in there, Brill Ob Squad, which, by the way, I'll have you know, if you ride Peloton, I created a hashtag on Peloton.
What? Holy what?
That is Brill Ob Squad, 1 S in there. And you can find and we can ride together and together we ride. I don't know. You can come up with your own thoughts. But I thought if you're out there and you're riding, ride with me or hashtag so I can see you.
Oh
and
my
I can follow
God.
you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What?
Created hashtag on Peloton.
How do these work? Does it work outside of Peloton? Is it only a social media device or is there a Peloton group where the hashtags make sense within that group?
Well, right now it's me. So if there are other riders, please Brill Up Squad and meet me there, and we will form our own group.
I want to understand. I don't think I asked the question in a way that you got what I'm asking. Doing this on social media with a hashtag means you're going to find other people who like us and like Peloton. You're doing some intersectionality with our delightfulness. Love it. I'm asking, does Peloton have a similar thing like you're watching, I don't know from Peloton, you're watching a video screen. So do the hashtags play? Are they engaged on the screen somehow? So, tell us. We
sometimes
don't know.
The instructors, the coaches say, I see a lot of Black Lives Matter hashtag here. It's good to see you ride. But if they see a bunch of people with Brill Up Squad, I don't know what that is. And then if they mention it, I can.
Bring it, squad.
Yeah. So let's make
Kappa
make
Squad.
it a thing.
I love it.
And
That's
if you need a code,
cool.
if you need a code for $100 off, again, let me know. I can get you a code. I'll get you $100 off. So yeah, I've decided to try to create a community on Peloton for this podcast.
I think that is so cool.
So if you'd like to contact us about that Act 3, please feel free to do so. We would love to hear from you. And Amy's job exploded in her face, and she's kind of looking for an Act 3 too, but she won't admit it because she still has a younger kid she still needs to raise.
No, I super admit it. Everybody fucking knows. They listen to the podcast. So I can't hide anything. They already know. That's why I didn't want to do a podcast. That's why I resisted it for so long, because you fucking say shit and I'm just talking to you. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait, I said that to everybody listening to us in fucking Australia. Hey, what's up? G'day. They're listening to us in Australia. What's the matter? Why is that funny? That's how they talk. That's what they say. That's what they say. They say, let's have some marmite. And that shit's gross,
Marmite.
baby.
Ugh.
I have that shit in the fridge. There's two of them. There's marmite is what you can easily get here in the States.
And Vegemite.
Well, yeah, that's hard to get, honestly. And we only know about it, but not like you make a face.
From men at work.
As if anybody would even be buying it. But the difference is the marmite they sell here. And it's just, you know what it is, yeah? You know what it is, right? Okay, I'm getting ready to tell you. You've had a peanut butter sandwich, correct?
Religiously.
Okay. You know that that's protein. You know that that's a good thing
Well
for you.
aware.
Shelf stable protein. Vegemite, and we may be saying it wrong, is a vegetarian shelf stable protein that is mostly yeast. And marmite, same fucking thing. So when you open it up, it's like, gosh, are we inside the giant copper kettle of a brewery? Like you just open this thing and you're like, ugh. And then you
Or
dip your
that
spoon in
one
there
girl
and
in
die.
college
Yeah, it's
who
gross.
sat
Super
on a
gross.
frozen Snapple bottle because she, had to.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Is this
Okay,
a
that's
perverted?
fine.
Is this a perverted thing?
No,
somebody fucked a Snapple.
No, it's a lady parts itch like crazy. So she froze a Snapple bottle and sat on it just to get relief, which is vile in itself.
Yeah, I feel like we have ice, but okay, that's all right. That works. My point to you is this. There's more to a third act, and you got more than 3 acts, by the way, than just the idea that you have to all of the sudden know exactly where the road is taking you and that you are driving at the speed of light toward it. You do so much more than just the full-time attention that you're giving to your kids right now. You do a lot more than that now, and I think it's just difficult for you to see it. So trying to decide and create this notion of here's exactly what I'm going to do. On the one hand, it's trickier, I think, not because the kids are transitioning out. I think it's tricky for all of us at this stage because you stop and you think, okay, I've been doing a lot of activity. I've had a lot of success at varying levels on all of the activity that I've done. Great. For most of us, it wasn't a straight line. So for most of us, it's not this idea of I've been climbing a long time and I'm at the peak. Where's the next mountain? Or time to come down the mountain. We don't have that experience. In my case, I've climbed like 3 steps on 1,000 staircases. So I've been doing a lot of fucking climbing and I'm still at the bottom of the staircase across the board. So that's the fucking frustration. And it's sort of this pretend idea that now magically, after a lot of my life has already occurred, I'm going to pick the magic staircase and go all the way to the top. It's like I've not done it yet.
Yeah, I
so
see that.
I'm trying to just be relaxed about it. And part of it is also because Rocco went to college. He's in college now. We went through this whole thing, and I have a fair number of friends who have not worked ever, or who worked in the beginning of their kids' lives and then haven't worked in 18 years, and roughly my age, maybe a little bit older. This was their only child.
So now what?
So you go. So when we were all, sniffling at the graduation ceremony, they were bawling, and it was, this is it. This is over. And in some cases, it overlapped with, not in an ugly way, just the reality of stress. It overlapped with, and the marriage has been over for a while too, but we're certainly not going to disrupt things until the child goes to college. So now it's really all over. And guess what? COVID. So it's like, there's a lot of this shit happening. Some of them are going back to school to learn the thing that they wanted to do or to learn the new thing that they want to do. Some of them are starting a brand new business or picking up a different kind of business. A lot of them are just getting plastic surgery and traveling the world. So it's that's it. So
That's
it's
my
I'm
code word now.
watching all of this shit happen. And in our case, we have a lot more to contribute than comfort and de-stress. You know, you still have fucking work to do.
I do.
So I don't look at it as what's your third act. I look at it as, whew, thank God that project is on autopilot. That's how I view this transition of the full-time feeding. I mean, there was a time when you weren't doing a podcast because you were diapering babies who were effectively the age of twins because they were so close together.
Yeah, and I see a lot of that stuff on Facebook. A lot of these people who are trying to figure out their worlds, their lives. It's weird. My Facebook lately has been mostly people who are selling things or political because I told you before we have I don't know, the algorithm's not in my favor and I haven't been on it that much, but a couple of things I did notice. One was people who are listing things for sale no longer say smoke-free home, pet-free home. They say COVID-free home.
Oh, for fuck's
That's
sake.
fucking crazy. I was like, smoke, pet, COVID? Wait, what?
And how can you you don't even get the, what are you going
Right.
to show me your test? It's just stupid and gross.
And
Because it makes me think, oh, right, I shouldn't buy anything on this platform. I mean, it's like a
Right, 'cause
deterrent.
forgot it was an option for you to be giving me them germs.
Fuck. Facebook, I swear to you. All
One
these
more.
people.
One
go.
more, and then you'll tell me all about Facebook. I don't know if you got this also, but we have a mutual friend, and I say that with wild air quotes, the friend part, who sent an email to, I believe, their whole Facebook, all of their friends, that said, keep in mind, how old am I? Old enough. When I was a sophomore in college, that was probably the last time, maybe a couple of years, that I spoke with this person. And they're turning 50, and they want to get letters in the mail.
Oh.
And, I mean, not having spoken to you since 1994, it seems really weird for you to reach out to me and to ask for a letter in the mail.
Well,
And that's
I think
what they
I
did.
think you have to, and you're thoughtful to be saying they, probably pretty directly. So it's hilarious. I didn't realize that I was closer to Ed, and everybody knows who Ed is. Because you go into in a minute. I didn't realize that I was closer to Ed than you were. So, and because we're not all that close. But I mean, he's slept in my house. Like I know him in Richmond. Like not even where we went to college. He came and visited. So it wasn't just for me. But in any event. Yeah, I have his home address. I'm going to be mailing him a personal
I
letter.
am
I've
too.
I've talked to him online quite a bit. But here's the funny thing about Ed.
Well, online, yes, I have, but
But
not
here's
like
the
you.
well, here's the funny thing about Ed. Ed is a Jeep driving, boxer dog having, sleep in the gutter, double nipple pierced wearing,
Never wearing shoes.
dabbled with, do you think he really has tried to drink blood in his vampire stage? Like, that's Ed. And I'm not kidding about the blood thing. That's not like an exaggeration for the podcast. I mean, he was also hanging around with some dude who was like a part-time magician and would do the thing where you put the needles through your skin, like as the magic act.
To hang by them. Yeah.
And he would wear like kilts and do use like a skateboard on the roof of like a high rise. Oh, anyway, so Ed was sort of a free spirit. You know, I mean, he was basically just a drugged out
Ed
crazy
dabbled
dude.
in smile therapy.
Okay,
for a
yeah.
while.
So now he's grown up, chronologically grown up into an adult, and lives out in California somewhere. He was living in the place
Let's say Santa Cruz. It's pretty hippie.
He was living in one of these places, yeah, where there's a lot of triangles and earth healing and let's place our hands on the tree and all the rest of it. That's great. Do it. I think you're fantastic. I love it. He started renting out his house as a bed and breakfast in this way. You could go there and he would give you a guided meditation through the woods. So he was charging people, and they were paying it, $60 an hour, and he would walk with them through his backyard, stop and meditate. And that was their retreat. And he was making a living walking people through his backyard. So I got to fucking say, that's fucking brilliant. That's fucking pretty brilliant. Okay. Then he started doing this corporate healing from the heart smile therapy where he was teaching corporations how to lead with joy. And I mean, it was a lot of this moving in that direction. So it just cracks me up that the dude who was like a vampire blood drinker, pierced in all the ways, is now magically centered and in love with the earth spirit and this woman, his life partner, his partner now, who he cherishes. He talks about her in ways that on the one hand are really moving. And I think, wow, that's really great and nice. And it's also like, I don't need to watch you guys have sex in this really intimate way. Like, it's
on
just
Facebook.
It's super.
I read all of this on Facebook.
Yes. And it's like, he just goes in this exhaustive detail about how important she is to his. And you think, oh, that's great to be so enlightened. And also, are you really, dude?
Are you inside her right now?
Even my girlfriends don't talk this way when they crying and drunk. So it's like a lot of in touch with yourself.
Hey, Ed,
and
good day.
all themselves. You're touching them all right now, rapidly, in a jerking motion. It's like, stop. It's too. So when he asked for his one birthday wish, please, was to everybody mail him a physical birthday card and he would give you his address. I was like, all right, I'm in. I think this is super cool. So I'm going to do that. I'm a fucking love it. I love that he's such a cuckoo bear Cocoa Puff, but especially given where he started, which was off the chain, probably would drive over these people laughing, fist in the air, high, when he would encounter. So it's like you've both ends, nothing in the middle. What did he even study in school? Do you have any idea? I never paid attention to that.
He lived
stuff.
on my floor my sophomore year, so I got to know him pretty well that year. Yes, he smuggled animals in his
Sure, yeah,
in his room. It's like, I don't think you're supposed to have 9 cats in here. 9 cats and 3 snakes. Those cats might be in danger. I don't know what's happening down here in this end of the hall.
Oh, Ed. Oh, wow. Just the whole thing. It's a big world. It's got a lot of people.
So that's what Facebook is bringing to me, and that and lots of political messages. And Amy,
what's the thing? I've got everybody on Facebook doing too much or too little. And I think most people have just exited because how can you? It's difficult to be on there as any kind of a reasonable person and not on some level engage in the thought of the day. This world is out of control. This American world is out of control. Everybody wants to talk about it on some level, and everybody already knows. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. So it's the pendulum is swinging as far as it can in both directions. I think everybody is snoozing. The ones who will remain snoozing everybody else, so that you get even more of that saturation of the horse shit. But like Ed, I have another person in my sphere, someone who I don't know all that well. She's the sister of someone I do know pretty well. So I came into her orbit that way, and it was one of these situations where she lives here, and she's sort of prominent here. There are people in your life that you bump into in some way or another. You meet them at a cocktail party. You see them all the time at the same social events or the same art events or whatever it happens to be. And then you realize that you two who were previously strangers now magically connect once, and their circle of friends and your circle of friends are already overlapping and intertwined, and people sort of can't believe that they didn't introduce you. Like it was one of those friends. So that's how I am with this person. I've even mentioned her on the pod before. She has a really traumatic history, very, very traumatic. She was in an abusive relationship for most of her adult life. It took her more than she could. He almost killed her. It took her almost more energy than she had to leave that. 10 years later, she found herself in another romantic relationship, and evidently I thought it was going well, but I guess it was on some level abusive. And I say that because I don't have any details. I don't want any details. She has since, during COVID, extracted herself from that situation and moved back home with her parents. Now, she's well into her 50s. So moving back home with your parents at that stage, talk about a third act, that's a big head fuck for you. She has no income. She has no prospect.
She's taking care of her parents now.
She's an artist. I mean, all these things. So it's been really, really hard, and she's been dealing with abuse. So she's chronicling her in Ed style. She told you she's an artist. She started chronicling her reinvention. She's calling it her reinvention and
on Facebook.
Reclamation. So she's reclaiming her life. And day 1, and it's an everyday update, and the updates are 9 paragraphs long, and they are in exhaustive detail, and some of them are so intimate and painful. You're grateful for them because you think, I'm glad she got it out. There's something in there that sparks like, oh, I did that too. But you're also the whole time thinking, I don't know that this is a healthy thing for you. I don't know this is a good. I don't want to click the little heart comfort. I don't want to like this. I don't want to. What do I? Is it because you're an artist you feel like you need people to see it? Like a whole thing. It was like, I don't even know. Now on day 78, she has posted. Yeah, every day she has posted.
Wow.
She wrote herself, I've come to think that doing this in this way is counterproductive, that I need to take a step back. And she left for a day and then came back the next day and said it felt really good to leave for a day and now it feels really good to come back. So it's like,
That's not really leaving.
Some days it'll be several paragraphs about how difficult it was for her to make her bed. And I don't say that to mock her. I say that because I fucking live it and I get it. But at the same time, it's like part of me is also thinking you could have told me this in 4 sentences. So it's like it's a lot of
Facebook
detail.
is acting as her therapy.
Yeah, it's a public journal. I used to use social media in the beginning as my thoughtful public travel journal. Right? It was a diary of the places I wanted to go, the experiences I had when I went there, the memories, because
The
I
pictures of the food.
Yeah, all of it, because it was like, this is my document for myself. And if somebody else, and I enjoy seeing it in other people. So I wasn't necessarily doing it for anybody else, but I was aware that other people could participate and enjoy. And that's what I liked about it. And it has completely shifted into something else. But I just wonder if I'm not able yet to watch The Social Dilemma, partly because everything they're going to tell me, I already know. I've been trafficking in this for years and continue to. So it won't come as a surprise, but things that don't come as a surprise aren't all, it doesn't have to come as a surprise just to knock you to your knees, right? You can already know it. You can know it on every single level. And then just the way that somebody turns that phrase of something that you know in your heart and your bones, they can say it in just a way that dials it up really fast. And I feel like that's something that happened to me this week. Facebook sometimes does that for other people. It happened to me. I was listening to another podcast. Can you believe it? I don't know.
On us?
I know.
My quality was so bad last week that I could see why you run to another podcast.
It really was, and it stymied us because it was one of these things where nothing changes and then magically something changes.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Well, and
it'll be better this week, I promise.
It's better already. It sounds fantastic. And the real difference here too, which is super cool and groovy, just as an aside, is thanks, guys. G'day, Australia. If I knew how to say hi to you in Taiwan, I would. We're charting. Our little podcast that could. People are listening. So we don't put a lot of stock in ratings and rankings and all this, as you can tell by the amount of reviews and ranking that we have on Apple, because it's not like there's 2,000 people who have clicked 5 stars. But the difference is this. We have some measurement tools that come to us every week, whether we want them or not. And they sort of have exploded in a strange, in an inexplicable way.
It wouldn't kill you to like us on there and give us 5 stars. Just because we don't beg for 5 stars, and we do beg for emails, which you often don't give us, you can do us a solid where you don't even have to communicate with us by clicking like and giving us 5 stars, because that will also help us chart. But strangely, charting in Taiwan as number 36 in a comedic
out of the top 200 podcasts. And I just want to say, it seems like, oh, who cares? And I mean, I do care about it a little bit in this way. There are, because our good friend Jess is, super high queen bee in the world of podcasting. She tells us this shit whether we want to know it or not. So we have access to it and a lot of this information that we didn't go seek it out still. For those of you who could care less about podcasts, just to put it in perspective, there are 1.2 million podcasts in production available to you right now. 1.2 million. That's a lot of shows. That's a lot of content. So the difference for each one, and to understand how they're sort of breaking into things, they keep track of how many people are listening based on the downloads that they get. And then using that information, they put you on the charts. Well, we're on the top 200 charts in Taiwan and Australia, which is kind of, it doesn't really compute. That doesn't make any sense in my brain. I can't really get there.
But
no.
I'm giddy about the idea.
Top
of it,
200, and I mentioned there's 1.2 million. Those twos don't even relate to each other. Like, what? Okay. So, and they listen to stuff. They listen to stuff in those places. It's not like there's only 4 people there and none of them have an iPod. So don't give me that. Thank you. It's Thank you. And the favorite food in Australia is chicken parmesan. I can tell you this because my kid did a second is lamb. So
is chicken parmesan really their favorite food in Australia?
That's their favorite. It's their most popular. Yeah, it's as weird and as you would say in England, their favorite food is curry, which is just Indian food. It's incredibly popular. In Australia, it's chicken parm, good old American style chicken parm, because that's not Italian. I mean, it's American Italian, and it's fucking delightful. So if you haven't had it, you need to.
It's also a favorite in our house.
I don't know how you could be our friends if you have not had this. So my stars.
Oh, shit. I have to cook tonight. It just hit me. It just hit me.
There's your third act.
No.
Well, I just want to say, so the whole point in this blah, 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 blah. So thank you for listening. Keep it up. Yay. Share with your friends. Everything's great. Give us a rate and make the rating high. If you're not going to rate it high, you're not going to make it 5 stars, what the fuck are you doing? You're wasting your time and hours. Stop it. So there you have it. So there's the anti rating. My point to you is, like the pimple popper from TikTok.
No.
I somehow was served the Next in Line podcast. I don't know what this is. It was Brene Brown, who every time I say her name, you make a face. I think you hate her. So
I don't hate her, but
well, you're allowed to hate things. That's fine. So I didn't know she had a podcast. Evidently, my phone did, because it started playing, Unlocking Us, and it starts playing this episode, and she's interviewing. She's frankly going out of her mind. I've never listened to her before ever, so I don't know what her podcast is like. She was going out of her mind, and evidently this was nothing at all like what her podcast normally is, talking to these 2 doctors who had written this book that blew her mind wide open. And she spent the entire podcast laughing at herself while she was doing it. She could only get through page 7. Like, that's how many truth bombs were in. She's like, I can't even get past page 7 because there's so much truth in this book. I'm going to do that, and then you're immediately going to want to buy it. And the truth is, she did, and I do.
What
it was?
Are we talking about?
The book is called Burnout. And who wants to read that book? I think I've even seen it like in airports or something. I can't have, because I haven't been to an airport. But you know what I mean? I feel like I've seen somehow it says Burnout, and the cover goes burnout, 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 burnout. So the whole purpose of the book, in a nutshell, explains the thing that you already know. But for me, when I heard somebody say it, I was like, oh my God. It is that emotion is a physical part of your body, which sounds like a who cares to most people. But what that really means is that when you experience emotion, happiness, sadness, any kind of an emotion that you could have, anger, right? It flows through your body in a physical way and stays there. And that it sort of seems like no duh, but at the same time, I don't think of it as a physical process, in the way that if your nose got stopped up full of snot, that's physical. And you know that you're not going to be able to function properly until you clear out your nose. You blow it. And if you're sick, it keeps filling up. So you figure out ways to clear it out and keep it cleared out and get back to kind of stasis, right? Emotions are the same way. They go into your muscles, into your bones, into your organs, into your brain physically. And this is not Ed in the desert. This is documented scientific physiological fact.
I mean, it makes complete sense. You get angry, your shoulders go up, the tension, of course.
So the reality of it's a physical manifestation was kind of, and more importantly than that, it has a cycle of a beginning, middle, and end. And if you don't properly complete the cycle, you hold and trap all of that. They call it emotion. I think doctors for generations have called this stress. You trap it in your body in various places until it destroys whatever it's in the process of doing, and it will release itself, right? And what was compelling about this,
in the form of an ulcer, in the form of
locking up your joints, in the form of giving you making your bowels
complete
operate,
sense.
Irritable bowel syndrome in ways that are totally different. So it was sort of breaking down this component of the most important thing that they did beyond all those two is they separated it from there was stress and a stressor. So it's this notion that you don't have to stop the trapping of all that stuff doesn't go away. The releasing of all that stuff doesn't automatically resolve when the stressor goes away. So if you're being attacked by somebody, if you're an animal and you're being attacked and all of a sudden the attack is over,
the predator is gone. You still
the physical stress in your body doesn't go away until your body resolves it. So just to fast forward to it, and I haven't read the book. This is still from just trying to mentally process getting through all these truth bombs. Here's why it's important for this podcast, and here's why it's important for me to even talk about it. They spent the bulk of their time explaining in proper scientific detail, even like this is information that special forces teams use regularly. So this is not hooey science. We all know this. This is a survival tactic that the toughest, badassest people employ regularly, right? There's a process for getting rid of all of this stuff. And there are seven ways that you can complete the cycle. She was calling it like being stuck in a tunnel. You have to go all the way through the tunnel of the emotion. And the 7 things that you can do, the only 7 that you can do to rid yourself of this stress, I have completely stopped doing. I naturally did all 7 of them every day of my life for my entire life. And then when COVID hit, every single one of them shut off and the stressor increased. So the stressor didn't go away. The ability to rid my body of these emotions, right, completely stopped. And they are simple things like laughter. Legitimate belly, like the laughter that we have. Right?
I'm going to quote Alexis. I love this journey for you.
Oh, fuck you. It's your journey too, you dipshit. So there's 7 things in there.
Okay.
Well,
laughter.
and they're
no, I want to hear them.
The very, and I don't have them. I'm going to remember them by the top of my head and get them wrong. The first one is movement. And I've seen you, and she says any physical movement of any kind.
Go get the mail. Go get your
I've
neighbor's mail.
I've experienced this repeatedly in my life, that even just that one act, when I would be physically active and then have to stop for any reason, for work, for this or that or the other, I would grind to a halt. My body would seize up in ways where I wouldn't even physically understand. And I'd be so confused. Like, how did I never felt this bad before? I don't even understand. It was because I was naturally releasing stuff, and then I locked up that valve by stopping the movement. And she's like, any physical movement of any kind, stepping up, standing out of a chair, shaking your arms and bending over. Like, it doesn't have to be Peloton, but fuck you, Peloton. It's a big one. Right?
Hashtag Brillobs Squad. Join me there.
Hashtag Brillobs Squad. And you got to, on that one, it's Brillobs Squad with a Brillobs, like
1S.
Brillobs Squad.
Right. Right.
Because we're really smart, y'all. So we got the TikTok
we are
in the
cool.
upstairs. All the things comes our way.
All right.
So,
I love this.
So
I love
movement,
this
breath, which I can't do and won't do. Right.
Well, that's the meditation part of it.
No, I'm not going to fucking do that.
That's the meditation.
Yeah, I'm not going to fucking do it. I'm sure that crying, right? Actual release of crying, like the real crying. In the same way, laughter, the real laughter. I don't even know how many is that, 4. So, and there were other ones. They're all fucking obvious. I'm telling you, every single, actual connection with other humans in the form
That's a
of,
tough one.
No, she said actual connection. And that can be like because it is here's why it's a release. Because your body, it's a signal. All of these things are signals, physical signals to your body.
That open the valves. They open all the valves that you stopped up.
100%. And here's why. They're physical signals that you are safe. Your body is in a tense, because it's protecting itself. And in the same way, it's fucking you over, right? So the idea,
but not the good way.
Well, she was even saying this idea of physical connection. It can be as simple as the barista at Starbucks says, "Nice earrings," right? You get a little zing. You have a connection with someone else. You feel safe. You feel protected and at home.
In a good way.
Yep. In a way. So it's. Did that stop? Yes. Laughter? Yes. All of it. Stop. I don't even remember what the other. You pick any of the rest of them. Whatever it was that you could do to have this coping mechanism, they were like ripped from you. And the stressor continued unabated. So it was and that's happened since February. And here we are in, I don't know what year this is.
It's October.
2090? Yeah.
It's
So-
October.
Okay, so when I've gone to my magical prepaid weekly massages for 90 minutes, I don't know if I've told you this, but I've been now at least 3 times, maybe 4. It hasn't gotten any better from week to week for her in the massage. I've become like her pet project because my body is so made of steel and sinew. It's not a human. It's so fucked.
I love that
right?
you're her project. I love
So,
that.
yeah,
She's
so-
like,
so-
I will break this bitch.
I mean, she like rubs her hands together like in the Miyagi way, like I'm gonna fucking fix this busted bone. So she's in there like, she doesn't even miss. She uses her fucking elbow to get more leverage. It's crazy. So, and it's so fucking painful. I've started taking pain reliever before I go in to try and be okay. So I go in there, I walk out, and then after all of the massive painful soreness goes away, and then in like 48 hours later, I feel good. I feel like I can stand up straighter and I feel okay. I feel okay. Like I'm physically feeling better. And then I go in the next week and she's like, how is this not any better? She says, it's not that it's worse, but it's exactly the same. And she's like, and I fixed this last week. How did you do it? Like she actually said the words, how did you do this? I was like, I know.
I feel like you're impressed by me, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yes. How did you fuck yourself so hard? So in any way,
I feel like
in any
that's a
event,
compliment. That
I wanna
I'm going
read-
to take it as a compliment.
So here's the other thing about this book that I haven't even in any way scratched the surface of describing. So I had this moment. I listened to the podcast a second time to actually process it because the first time, it's like a really great comedy. You hear it, you're in the middle of laughing so hard you miss most of it. So you watch it 2 or 3 times and you're like, oh my God, there's a joke a second. Okay, so I've done that several times listening to this podcast. Then happened to be in a text with my neighbor, the lovely one with the tomatoes. And based on something she said, she's going through something, I just happened to mention this to her. And she was like, somebody else had mentioned that. I think that's really interesting. I'll check it out. Then later that same night, I got a Marco Polo from one of our D Sharps friends who heard the same podcast, immediately thought of me. She said, everything that you've been saying over the past 3 episodes, it's like they dissected you in this podcast. And I said, I felt the same way. I can't believe this. What the hell? Are you some kind of magic guru? I got to send you a birthday card now. So all these people, that's the universe like, wake
Knocking
up,
on your door.
Wake up, dipshit. You got to read something now. So I won't read it.
It's time.
I'll do an audio book. I'll do an audio book. I'm not going to fucking read things. I've read so much in my life. That's enough.
Remember I asked you, is it the same to listen to an audiobook? Like, does that
Yes.
count as reading?
Yes, 1,000%.
Okay.
1,000,000,000%. And teachers will tell you the same thing. It's because your brain is doing the work. It's not your eyes. It's your brain doing the work as long as the messaging is getting in there. The difference for me, without any kind of scientific background, is that you're not watching the book as you would watch a play music is not a movie. Music is music. You hear it, it gets into your brain, and then your brain connects the dots and fills it in. Audio stories, book stories are the same way. Whether you're listening to it, going through your ears, or you're putting it in your brain through your eyes, your brain is writing the story. Your
Okay.
brain is processing the words. So to me, it has nothing. The methodology has nothing to do
I
with it.
tend to multitask when I'm audio listening, and I feel like I might not be getting it all. If
Well,
I
that's
were to-
distracted reading. If you've ever read a book and you find yourself 4 pages ahead and you're like, what the fuck just happened in this book?
Yes,
That's
I
no
have
different.
to go back. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I did that. I've been writing letters to first-time voters, and it's hard on my hand and all these things, and it's tough physically to do it. Handwriting shit is fucking hard. So I've been doing this thing, and I try to listen to things, and then I find myself writing the lyrics in the letters, so I can't. I've had to throw
Oh, wow,
out.
that's funny.
Yeah, and they're like on pre-formatted pages, so I had to like throw out 3 of my precious pages. So I'm like, I have to do it in silence, which makes it super boring. But fuck you, I'm doing it. We got 19 days to go. We got 10 minutes to go. How many days do we got to go? Not enough. Get out and vote, bitches. Come on, Australia. Emigrate here.
Australia can't
Yeah,
help us.
come on in. Emigrate. Get your naturalization status.
This comes out on Thursday, so what are you down to? 2 weeks? You got
6 seconds. 6
So
seconds.
I want everybody to think about what your plan is to vote. I want you to think about, let this be your meditation for the day. I want you to close your eyes and think about what Tuesday looks like for you. Are you voting in person? Have you voted already? Yay, if you have. But it's really important that you have a plan and that you think it out and that you figure out how you are going to make your vote count, because your vote is so important. And if you've already voted and you can help other people realize their vote, that would be amazing. And that would be, as them Jews say, a mitzvah. It's definitely something you can do for others.
I also have to chime in here and say we're getting a lot of signals from pollsters, from mood of the moment, from podcasts, from everywhere you look. It's crunch time. If you've been ignoring it up till now, mazel, you're in it now. Now is not the time to ignore it. And I will go further and say, if you've been sitting on the sidelines, rubbing your temples, make this shit go away, you don't have that luxury. You must vote. Everything that you think you know about volume, about the movement, the wave of people coming out to vote, ignore that shit. Elections have been won and lost repeatedly in our country by 100 or fewer votes. Elections. The entire fate of our country can rest on a single vote. I'm not fucking kidding. It's not hyperbole. It doesn't take you that long to shut me up on this topic. You got to go fucking tick the box. So just do it and just do it. And don't convince yourself that because you're so busy, it doesn't matter. My state's this color or my state's that color. Get out and fucking do it.
Nike's
Please.
coming after you for stealing their
It's
logo.
just ignore everything and go vote. And I will, if it's not already obvious, vote blue, no matter who. Please go out and do it. That's the point of this.
Have a plan. Ask your friends what their plan is, because before you know it, it'll be here. I know it seems like 30, 29, 28 takes forever. It'll be here. And the best way to do it is to have a plan and ask your friends, especially your friends who are similar leaning like you. That's all I ask.
Well, I think the majority of people, truthfully, the majority of people are sick of this shit, could care less. They're disgusted, at least with one party. I would say there's a large faction of people who are disgusted with all of it. Please don't let that disgust fuel you in sitting out and not participating. No one has that luxury anymore.
Go find Mandy Patinkin on TikTok. He and his wife are fucking hilarious. All those dances that them kids are doing, he and his wife will have to react to as it happens, and they start doing it. They're delightful. They are really delightful. And I'm sorry that we got political, but just to go back to a second about burnout, I don't know that name is really, what it is for me is everything you said made complete sense.
Yep.
Everything you said, like, yes, of course, it's totally intuitive to know that all of those things you feel the second, even when you're watching a movie and it's not an authentic feeling to your life, you feel the tension, and it's totally, totally clear and understandable that you need to find a way to let out all of those emotions. And for you turning off that valve and stopping it up, of course we're gonna have chronic pain. Of course we're gonna have whatever, if it's your skin, your digestive system, your muscles. I got from you 5 things that 5 things instead of the 7. And I think most of them could be accomplished by watching a Hallmark movie. I think the way we watch TV. Oh, by the way, Stuart watched or is in the middle of watching that octopus movie, and he likes it. He thought it was great. Yeah, he thought it was great. And I said, I think you should call Amy's husband and tell him, Marco Polo him a picture of you with an octopus.
I mentioned it to him. Again, can we please? And he immediately got bent out of shape, and he was like, no, and stop talking to me about it and go away. And I've had it.
So do you think he has blocked off all of those valves too? Do you think the people in your house have done it, or this is something, do you see it out in the world, or is it something you really just relate to for yourself?
I see it out in the world, but I also, I know that the surprise for me comes that I naturally was unaware that I was doing all 7 things repeatedly.
Prior.
Like I was unaware of two things: that I had a mechanism in place that was sustaining me, body and soul, and that mechanism was turned off in a way that could be just
Screeching
as
halt.
easily turned on. No, it's one thing. We all know that shit got turned off. We all know that. But
Right.
what we don't necessarily know is it's a process, and you're able to easily undo, right? The thing that it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
It's
but I
crazy.
think we also did this thing where we went to seek comfort for those aches and pains in places that were really not appropriate. Did I need to auto ship those Dutch chocolate cookies from Archway to my house from a store I would never shop in person? Do I need to auto ship weekly? Like, I don't really think I needed to seek comfort in donuts. I think that exacerbated everything that came to that screeching halt. So comforting the symptoms in an inappropriate way was also a symptom of needing those 7 releases: laughter, crying, connection, breath, movement.
I honestly,
And 2 others.
in full disclosure, I popped on another tab here online to see if I could quickly find the 7 things and just read them out. And they're not listed anywhere, but what is listed is the massive #1 rated. This is the best book ever. This is everyone in the world needs to read this, et cetera, et cetera. And the name of the book is Burnout: The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle by Dr. Emily Nagoski and Dr. Amelia Nagoski, who are both twin
course.
sisters. And it's you check it out. If you don't
Check it
want,
out. Dope.
well, the other thing is the podcast where I heard it described in such light bulb detail was from Brene Brown. I believe it's called Unlocking Us. It happens to be the most recent of her episodes, so go check her out too. It's an easy way to get in there. The point here is that we all can do these things, and I think everybody does some of them. So you're asking, is this something that Brian does some of them? He does some of them naturally, but others not at all. And I think for most people, you do a few and you get used to doing a few. And that's the thing that, creativity, that was one of them too. All the things yeah. So I was like, everything on the list, it was like, if there was a list of 7 things that make up the chemical, completion of Amy,
Wellness, yeah.
these are the 7 things. And it was like all of them stopped. And it's not like I can go back. I think it was, I don't know if singing was in there, but it was that ridiculous. It was down
just
to
you.
the,
Yeah, it's just you.
I was like, oh,
I'm sorry,
that's why
Brene.
it feels like my whole world has gone away, because it has.
I'm sorry,
And it has
Brene, did
more-
you do this just for me?
Well, and it has more to do than, your industry doesn't exist anymore. So even when you do find somebody that wants to pay you to go back to do the work you know how to do, it's in a totally different way. And there's no income coming in. And your kids are suffering in this whole, you got 3 kids trying to learn through this maze. And, you got 2 small business household. And, you're eating like shit and not doing anything. And I could list 100 other things. All the shit that everybody's going through all the time. It was just so shocking that these things went away and I could put them back regardless
Of
the lion
stressor, right.
biting my jugular.
Yeah.
Like that can keep happening while I figure out how to breathe. That's where
I
the
love that.
badass jump out the plane people came in, because they're, and you see this from Olympians, the people who do the cross country skiing and then shoot the gun,
Yeah.
whatever that
the
thing is.
triath-
They would do this wacko breath that brought their blood pressure down. And I would watch them do it, like doing this weird stomach thing,
Yep.
like some kind of voodoo
And
person.
then zoom.
And then she leans back in a weird way and then shoots the target perfectly. I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to do that because I'm great and I can do all those things, even though I can do none of them.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite competition, by the way. I'm like, she did what, and she stopped to do what, and then she went on to do what? Yeah,
You're
that's
kidding.
badass.
The Nordic fuck you up.
Oh,
Whatever
I love
whatever it's called. Nordic badass.
I love that, and I think that title is perfect for it. I have one last question for you before we come to a close, because you've really given me a lot to think about today.
I'm sorry.
And I'm
yes,
still
what's
missing
your
one.
question? What's your question?
So you have a friend or friends or people, and you're in this stopped up kind of state. Like you have your aches and pains, but you also have your mental fog. You have all of these things that you've just discovered there's a way out of. I am curious to know if you're going to take that step to get out of them, but that's for our next podcast. And you just gave yourself homework. Knowing these 7 things is knowing them.
Jesus,
acting
with the
on
homework.
them. Acting on them
Act
is
3.
completely different.
Uh-huh.
But so a friend says to you, sends you a text, sends you an email, calls you, FaceTimes you, Marco Polos you, and says, let's have dinner.
Yes.
And you don't have other plans, but you just don't want to go. What
Right.
do you say?
It depends on many things. So shall we break it down, or shall we just fast forward to the thing you're allowed to say, which is the truest definition of adulthood is to say no to any question without explanation. That makes you an adult. You don't owe anyone an explanation to do, in this case, what you want. It's a choice. It's a choice of what would you like to do? You're invited to do this thing, and you get to say, no, thank you.
That's not rude to just say no.
The reality is, socially, it is very easy to perceive it to be rude, and it is very easy for it to be rude. But as an adult, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You can say no. And we forget that. You can say no. You don't have to turn down an offer to do something fun with an elaborate backstory. You get to say no. You do. And no one ever will. Ever. And that's part of what also is in this book, is that part of the reason that we don't naturally, automatically always go all the way through these stress response reliefs. She has some parasympathetic, all this stupid shit, is because there's a lot of social construct that says, no, you don't get to do that. No, there's a social thing that gets in your way of doing the thing that your body needs to do. As an adult, when someone asks you, I mean, look at it this way. We go way out of our way to reinforce and train our kids that if somebody wants to hug you or touch you, you get to say no, and you don't owe them shit. And if their feelings get hurt, they can go sit in a corner, because fuck off. It's your body. And nobody does it. When you have an uncle who all the adults know is fine, when you have an aunt who all the adults know is fine, and that person just wants a kiss, you still just pressure your kid, just go kiss your aunt, just do your thing. Even though
I know she's got whiskers, and
even though you shouldn't, even though as adults we shouldn't do it. That's what we're doing here. You don't want to hurt your friend's feelings.
Sit on Santa's lap. That's a creepy old man who smells like butterscotch.
So there's two parts of this. The first part is, if you in your heart accept that you have the ability to say no to any request and act on it, that doesn't have to equal acting on it in a way that's rude. You can still couch that I get to say no and I don't owe an explanation. So then the trick is, you can also create a way to say no with limited explanation.
Sorry, we can't.
You don't have to go into a backstory.
Why can't you? What are you doing? Do it later.
We can't. Thank you. We just can't. How are you? If your friend hasn't met you before and isn't able to recognize when they're being
they still want to eat out with me, so maybe they don't know me that well.
And I think right now what's acceptable also is I'm not up to it and I don't really want to get into it. Thank you. Next. Just write next. Just next. No. Next. I'll talk to you about something else. Or
Anything
I don't want
else.
to talk to you. Or I don't like you and you're not my friend. Lose this number.
I don't like when you eat off my plate.
I wouldn't eat with you if all the food in the world was in your pantry.
I can't believe you quoted Nike and Nancy Reagan all in one episode. Just say no.
Listen, I'm just here to tell you, as an adult, you have the ability to say no without explanation. You're not breaking the law.
Do you do it? Do you just say no, or do you?
I have learned, and I learned the hard way over many, many years. What I try to do, I mostly learned it because of my clients asking for things that they can't have, and I have to maintain the relationship. There's several ways to address this when you're dealing with a client. I have some colleagues who basically cut off the conversation. Nope. And that's a relationship ender. So I don't want to end the relationship,
right.
But this thing is not happening, and I'm not going to waste my energy having a debate about why it's not happening, because there is no path that will make it happen. So I've already decided it's a dead end. So the issue here is only to get them on board with me that we're going to discuss another topic, right? So I always try to think through in milliseconds.
Like
I
having
don't
little
spend
kids.
a lot of time.
You distract
I
them
don't
with
spend
something
a lot
shiny.
of time. I try to close the conversation in a way that does not. This is what I frequently say to my colleagues: do not invite another question. Close it in a way where there are no other questions. You've answered it so fully that it's crystal clear that all questions will be answered in the same way. So it's futile to continue asking questions, right? It's like, no, that's sort of not a viable path. When it comes to something social, I learned it this way because I remember vividly being in high school, working in Macy's at the Christiana Mall. Shout out, boys' clothing section. So I was in there and So I was, talking to. I had to somehow get somebody to cover a shift for me. I had championship swimming or something was happening, and I was asking all these people, and they were doing their dance of I don't know, I don't think so. Nobody wanted to do it, right? And I went over to this other woman who was older than all of us. She was like, this was her proper job. We were all a bunch of just idiot high school kids, and this was her job. Yeah. So I went over to her, and it was about a night shift that nobody wanted. I said, are you able to? She had heard me making the rounds. It's not a big boys department. So I came over to her and I said, would you I have something on this day at this time. Would you be able to cover my shift? And she went, no. And I looked at her like, because everything,
None
I
of your
didn't
fucking
say
business.
it.
I said
No,
no.
she said no. And that was it. And the answer was, we're done here. Find someone else. And it was so startling. But I was like,
respect, woman, respect.
yeah, okay, I got it. And I found someone else, and I didn't talk to her about it again.
Hey,
Just say no.
Hey, Melissa, can you and Stu come to dinner? No.
No. Try it.
I didn't even tell you when. Oh, go ahead. Tell me when.
No.
Tomorrow. No.
No.
I didn't even give you a time.
No, I'm an
go
adult. No.
Read from this whatever
But
you
I'm
want.
your friend. No.
Still no. Dear listener, thank you so much for listening. I learned a lot today. I hope you did too. Amy came very prepared, and for that I am grateful. Thank you. Come back next week, and we will make a plan for voting again, and we will discuss with you the way Amy opened her 7 chakras.
This is the way. Yeah.
This is that's coming out again. The Mandalorian season 2 is coming out
I can't fucking wait.
November, right?
No, now.
When?
October 27th.
I'm vibrating all of a sudden.
I'm probably super wrong, but I don't care. October 27th is what I've decided.
I am doubling down on being wrong.
Let me fucking man.
I'm gonna watch the first season again now.
Season 2. Let's see what it says.
So that I could.
Fuck it. You're right. No. Season 2, episode 1, chapter 9, October 30th.
Okay. Fair enough. I can't not wait.
This is the way.
We love you guys, and there's proof of that we keep showing up every day. I could talk to Amy on my fucking own. I don't need you, but we do it with you because we love you.
Aww,
and
it's true,
that's not going to change.
And you heard us before. We don't have to do shit. We're adults chronologically. We could say no.
And we could just say no.
I won't do it. We will.
We will. And we'll be here
love
next
you.
week. Take care,
And you know
guys.
what? Add those 7 things into your life. And
Well, we
guess
only
what?
know 6. You only gave us 6. You didn't give us 7.
Try fucking one of them. Breathing. Did I say breathing?
Yeah. Laughter, movement, breath, crying, connection, and creativity. Something's missing.
Right? Oh, yeah. I'll do that too.
Why don't you look that up while working on the other ones? We're really leaving this time. I mean it. Love you.
Bye.